Welcome to the second part of this series all about the PECO turntable and motor installation series. Previously we looked at the assembly of the turntable and the preparation of the baseboard for installation on a layout. In this film we're going to look at installing the turntable motor mechanism and wiring for both DC and DCC. For this part of your build you will need your PT200 toolkit and liquid poly cement. We recommend you have at least 85mm of space below your baseboard to make room for your motor and power supply cables. We also recommend using the PECO 12V DC independent power supply cable. We start off with a bracket assembly. Remove the components from their plastic mouldings and file away any rough edges. Then slide the two halves of your motor brackets together and fix with liquid poly cement. Then repeat this with the bottom braces. You will need 3 of these to mount your motor onto the underside of your turntable. With the turntable deck in place in the pit and the whole of the assembly held upside down, use poly-liquid cement to glue the shaft conversion collar to the bottom of the turntable spigot. Be careful not to get any glue on the main bearing. Be aware that from this point the turntable bridge will permanently be attached to the pit. Clip the 3 mounting brackets to the mounting holes on the motor unit. Offer this up to the bottom of the pit so that the hexagonal shafts of the motor unit fit and match the holes in the shaft conversion collar. Using poly cement glue, mount the brackets to the turntable pit and leave it overnight to cure. When the turntable is in position, align the approach tracks. There are 2 types of rail plates provided, for use with PECO code 100 and for PECO code 75. Remove a sufficient amount of sleepers from the approach tracks so the rails are flush with the inside edge of the wall and cement the track plates in place and locate the track. Once the track is in place, drill your holes so you can fit your wires neatly under your baseboard. The diagram shows the correct polarity of the approach track in the 2 halves of the turntable. The turntable pit needs to be positioned with the metal contacts at right angles to the approach track, zone 1 on the PECO instructions. Wires from the metal contacts of the turntable bridge are connected to the approach rails, zone 2, or a junction block like I'm using here. There are 2 areas I have marked as AED, area electronically disconnected, or on the PECO instructions, zone 3. This means when the bridge is in this position, there will be no electronic connectivity to the rails on the bridge, so avoid placing any track in these areas. Zone 4, as long as the end A of the bridge remains in this zone, the turntable will have the same polarity as the main feed, zone 2. Zone 5, when the end A of the bridge moves into this area, the polarity of the turntable will be reversed. So, tracks leading from the turntable in these areas should be wired to suit as illustrated. To help keep your wires tidy, you can either cable tie them together in groups, or as I have used, a hot melt glue gun to stick them to the underside of your baseboard. The wiring instructions will work for both DCC and DC. Plug the control unit into a socket at the bottom of the motor. Mount the control unit in a convenient location near the edge of your layout. Then attach the power supply to the screw terminals on the motor unit. All that's left to do now is build your scenery around your turntable. The possibilities are endless. You can operate the motor by pressing the left-hand button to rotate the turntable anti-clockwise, and by pressing the right-hand button to rotate clockwise. Hold down the button for continuous movement, or briefly tap the button to move the turntable just a small amount. Make sure the rails are aligned before driving a locomotive on or off of the turntable. We hope you enjoyed watching this series about the turntable and motor available from PECO, and find it useful when constructing your next turntable diorama. We look forward to seeing you again soon on another PECO TV programme in the future.